So it's going to be really important for everybody who is having to submit a report for APC renewal to be aware of this. My name's Sally Ann. I've been an SpLD assessor for over 25 years. Subscribe to my channel and be the best assessor that you can be. Have you heard about the changes to the SASC APC report criteria? Not many people seem to have acknowledged this, so let's have a look at it together so you know exactly what it is that is going to impact on you potentially with your APC renewal. So let's have a look at this, clarified by SASC October 2025. So the headline news is that the two key SASC APC related documents have been updated. You can have a look at them right now if you want to. I'm going to tell you what's happened and why it's different. So which are these documents? It's the SASC APC report criteria, which is one document, and the other is the APC report review pro forma. So we need to know about this because these are the documents that your APC reviewer works to when they are making a judgment about the report that you submit. So a lot of our work in the APC 123 course is based around ensuring that assessors who are attending the coaching program with us really get to grips with what's being looked at, what's being looked for, and how to meet those expectations. So it's going to be really important for everybody who is having to submit a report for APC renewal to be aware of this. So they look like this. You'll see them. You can download them from the SASC website on the APC page. So we have the assessment report criteria, and we have the SASC feedback pro forma. So each of the awarding bodies, whether it's Patoss, the BDA or Dyslexia Guild, all three of them work to this criteria and use this pro forma. Okay, so you will see this form, whoever you renew with, and you'll be judged against the same criteria. So who does this change impact on? Well, it's APC holders who need to submit a report for renewal. Now, there are APC holders who don't need to submit a report for renewal because they're at their 4th, 5th, 6th renewal. We haven't got to the 7th yet, but we will. So at that stage, you don't have to send a report in, but everybody prior to that, for your 1st, 2nd, 3rd renewal, you do need to submit a report. So this is a change for you, or a clarification for you. When does this come into effect? It's the 1st of January 2026. So as I speak today in October 2025, it's a matter of months. If you're going to submit for APC renewal at any point between now and the end of December 2025, this doesn't affect you. It's as you were, it's the same report criteria, and it's the old pro forma, exactly the same as we've been using since 2020, actually, when it all changed. So what has stayed the same? I hope this is going to bring some reassurance, because when we look at this, you'll see that this is your bread and butter. It's what you do, and that's what you're being judged against. So what stayed the same? The 15 criterion to address. There are still 15 criterion, but what we've got now is clarification and a bit more detail about what those criteria, each of those criteria actually meet. So we are looking at confidentiality, maintaining test confidentiality, maintaining the confidentiality of the individual and their family members. We are looking at ensuring we capture the role of cognitive processing and how that's impacting. Appropriate gathering and use of background information being sensitively reported and gathered in an appropriate way. Appropriate choice and use of assessment materials, bearing in mind age ranges and the areas to be assessed, which will be informed by background information. Score accuracy, you've got to get it right. So spot on with your scoring, spot on with statistical terms and how they're being used. Things like statistical significance and prevalence come under the relevant statistical analysis. If it's available, then we should be using that to inform our analysis. So they're the first 7, which are actually not hugely different, but more clarity, which is great. The rest, unexpectedness, is acknowledged and discussed. We will have a separate video all about unexpectedness. Qualitative analysis, observations, use of compensatory strategies being captured and considered. Consistency, links being made appropriately so that you're really understanding the profile. Coming to robust diagnostic decisions, but bearing in mind your professional boundaries. So that's particularly important in terms of the age range that you assess and your experience and training backgrounds. Appropriate use and presentation of definitions, one or more, depending on the appropriateness of their use for that report. Are you presenting them in the correct way? Are you referencing them accurately? Is it the right definition to be using in this circumstance? Strengths and challenges are outlined, which is great. We've got an emphasis on let's capture the good stuff as well, and the impact of those in the classroom, in everyday life, outside of the assessment arena. Your recommendations need to be clear, they need to be appropriate, they need to be relevant to the individual, not generic. And the accessibility and the presentation of the report, so it's not deviating from the SASC guidance, but also it's readable and accessible for including the non-specialist and the report about which the individual is written. So when we talk about it in those terms, you can see that there is nothing outrageous in there. It's very sensible. There aren't massive changes from the previous criterion. So this is good. This is what we should be doing. Obviously, these are the important things that we already know. So it's just reminding you that you will get measured against these things, but also giving you the opportunity to have a look on the SASC website, have a look at the documentation and say, right, okay. And it's a good reminder, it's a good CPD activity actually, to remind you of what's good and what's being looked for in terms of what best practice actually looks like. So what has stayed the same? The pass mark, you still need to get 77% for a pass. If you score 0 for any of those 15 criterion, then you automatically need to submit another report. You can't have a 0. It has to be good enough, if not really good. So that stayed the same. There is no change there. And the requirement for a CPD log and how it needs to capture impact and all of the things that we already know, that has remained exactly the same. There are no changes. So that's also the case if you're on 4th renewal onwards. Your CPD log is your evidence. You don't need to submit a report, but your CPD log needs to be spot on. Yeah, so that's that point there. So what are the main changes then? We've got all these things that are the same. So what are the main changes? They're good, actually. We have got more detailed clarification about exactly what constitutes a decent performance, an okay performance, and a really, you need to look at this performance. So that's an example of the pro forma that your APC reviewer will be using and will be mapping against when they look at your report. So here's criteria 1, confidentiality, and you can see this also hasn't changed. You can either score a 2, a 1, or a 0. If you do score a 0, it's game over. You're going to have to submit another report. Criterion 1 is it's okay, yeah. Criterion 2 is obviously where we want everybody to be. But there's clarification underneath here as well. So it is much clearer about how to hit a 2. So in our APC renewal coaching, we will be saying to people, this is how to get to a 2. And we will give you hints, tips, clarification, even further on what these criteria mean, common pitfalls, the stuff that we're doing now, basically, but we'll be mapping it to the update in the criterion. So we will keep you safe in your practice, and we'll be continuing to do that with the new criterion. The main changes also are positive because they make it easier to accommodate the 2025 report format. I can already hear the alarm in some people at this point. So your question is, can I still use the 2019 format then for my APC renewal? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. You can use the 2019 format until the 1st of January 2027. It ends on the 31st of December 2026. Okay. Now, what that actually means, if we think about APC renewal, it's absolutely acceptable to submit a report that was written in the previous 18 months. And it has to be written to the criteria that was relevant at the time that you wrote that report. So what that means is you can be submitting a 2019 format report well into 2028 because it will still have been relevant at the time you wrote the report if you wrote it before January 2027. So hopefully that's good news. There is no panic about this. You will have to get onto the 2025 report format at some point, but you don't need to do that for your APC renewal unless you want to. So that's what I wanted to give you a heads up about. There are SASC updates to the APC report criteria. When you see that as news, it might seem quite alarming and oh crikey, everything's changed and here comes another change. But actually, is it a change or is it a clarification, a bit more detail and a bit of clarity about how to meet the expected criteria for your APC renewal report submission? That's what we do in APC 123, our coaching program. Have a look on the website if that's of interest to you. But my main message is to give you the information. This is a change to show you that there's nothing terrible about the change and hopefully to give you some reassurance that, as always, this is a doable job if we take it step by step and unpick things together.